أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone, and welcome on a new episode of Youth Matters with me, your host, Sakina Habib. I would like to extend my heartiest felicitations on the birth anniversary of Lady Zainab Salamullahi Alaiha this week. As you know, that we are celebrating the auspicious occasion. Today's episode will contain 3 segments. First up, we'll be talking about the latest headline since last week. I'm sure all of you must have heard. And I don't know if you guys have already guessed it. Yes, it's about the new COVID variant, Omicron. Like, it's shocking yet not so shocking. Then, of course, we'll be talking a little on the life and pearls of wisdom that we can learn from Lady Zainab, Salamullahi Alaiha. And the third segment for today is my favorite because we'll be having some really nice general knowledge questions and answers that I'm really looking forward to. So please stay tuned throughout this episode. Also, I will be joined by 2 very well-known aspiring guests. My first one is, she's a very dear close friend, Muhaimina Jan Muhammad, who's of course been on my show earlier. Who can forget, the author of Discovering the Can in Cancer. And my second guest is quite popularly known as a fantastic avid speaker and writer. Yes, that's right. He's a self-development author of 5 books, CEO of EEBI. He is certified mental health first aider and community fit champion. He has facilitated a number of conferences pertaining to mental health issues, child abuse and suicide. He's a historiographer, he's a marketing executive, he's a teacher, a brand ambassador, and a humorist, and an orator, and the list goes on. So without much further ado, I would like to welcome Ijaz Bhallu and Muhaimina Jan Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to the both of you, and welcome on Youth Matters.
Alaikum salam.
How are you guys doing today?
We're good. How are you?
Safe from COVID.
I'm good, alhamdulillah. It's an absolute pleasure having you both on today's program. I'm really excited. So let's start. The topic is very evident and clear about connecting with the latest, what's really happening around the world. So flashing news calls for the new happening COVID-19 variant. Now the question is that, are we really going to go into lockdown again? No traveling, etc. Now, barely a week has elapsed since scientists in Botswana and South Africa alerted the world to this fast-spreading variant now known as the Omicron. And researchers worldwide are racing to understand the threat that the variant, which is now confirmed in more than 20 countries, poses to the world. So it might take scientists to, weeks to, paint a more complete picture about this Omicron and, to understand its severity and its transmissibility. But, Brother Ijaz, I would like to start with you. What do you think is really going to happen? And, is the world really going to go into another lockdown yet? Like 2022 hasn't even begun and it's already giving me shivers all over again. So what is your view on this?
Okay, it's an interesting question, but again, based on the events that have transpired in 2020 and 2021, I don't think it will be very safe for anyone to make any predictions because of how volatile the world has been. So it is safer to say that we should expect the unexpected. And the funny part about this new variant is that, have you noticed, nobody really knows how to pronounce it. So some say Omicron, you said Omicron. If you watch some of the media outlets as well, they still do not know how to pronounce this variant. But I'm hoping that we are able to find a cure to this as quickly as possible. I also recommend those who haven't yet taken the vaccine, please take the vaccine. And make sure you continue staying safe, social distancing, and try wearing a mask whenever possible. I hope we don't enter into another phase where a lockdown is necessary, simply because I think it is very, it's harmful. It's really bad for society as a whole, not only the economy, but people as well who are
Yeah.
trying to provide for their families, who are trying to make a living. It's very difficult for them. Those who are born in privileged backgrounds, them, maybe it may not be such a massive concern. But for those who are actually going out there working hard, I think this isn't very good news. In terms of traveling, I guess there are some countries that, so for example, the US, Canada, they have restricted South Africa to enter their countries, when the reality is there are more cases in their countries than South Africa. South Africa just discovered this variant. But
Yeah.
I'm guessing they're trying to do something that's good for their country. And we hope that we are able to find a cure completely to eradicate COVID. Like, and again, there's so many different views about this that just sticking to one would be a challenge. So I'm just hoping for the best, inshallah.
And what about you, Muhaimina? Like, what did you think about this when you heard it?
So for me, it's going to be a totally different experience because, inshallah, in the next 2 weeks, exactly on this day, I'm planning to travel back to Toronto for my further studies because
Okay.
everything is in person from January. So when I heard about this
Okay.
new variant, as you just said, no one knows how to really pronounce it, so I'm not going to try. I'm just going to call it the new variant. So this new variant actually got me really scared because they started to ban travel, new restrictions, new testing requirements on arrival, especially in Toronto. So it was really
Yeah.
scary for me because my whole like 2022 depends on what's going to happen in December. So this new
Yeah.
variant really got me moved early in the morning. Every time I wake up, I'm checking Toronto COVID news, travel ban. Have they banned us students? Can we go back? Is Ryerson pushing everything back to online? What's going to happen? So there's a lot of uncertainty. I think that's what we've been feeling for a really long time now since the COVID pandemic started. So I don't, personally speaking, I don't feel there's going to be a lockdown because many economies have been hit. And even if we ignore all the social effects, economies are being hit. And no country, however rich you are, can afford a lockdown at this stage. But again, it's just me saying I'm still a student. I wouldn't know much. But according to me, I feel we need to start getting more other alternatives rather than lockdowns and travel bans. We need to see what's going to work in the long term. So yeah, I feel according to me as a student and for many students out there, there's a lot of uncertainty for us. But other than that, I feel life moves on, whether we are online, in person, lockdown, no lockdown. We've survived it. We can survive it again. But yes, as you just said, vaccination, all these kind of things will really help us.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Right now, it is really and highly recommended to, take the COVID vaccine. Whether someone likes it or not, you have to take it. It makes things much easier that way, not just for the person, but for people around you, for people whom you're interacting with and all of that. What about if we talk about a little about journalism, okay? Uh, can we talk about bad journalism for a moment? Like everybody, has been blaming South Africa for it. What are your views on it? Like first, Brother Ijaz, if you can tell us something on that.
Okay, pertaining to COVID, it's really been a polarizing discussion. So, if you remember, last year, there's a lot of misinformation about it. So
Yes.
initially, we were told masks are not useful. I clearly remember
Yeah.
the WHO stated this in their guideline. The mask is not useful. Then they changed. They said, no, now the mask is useful. Okay.
Yes.
Then they said we won't have a vaccine in the next 2 or 3 years, and we had a vaccine.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of uncertainty, as Muhaimina highlighted. Now this becomes a
Yeah.
challenge because now we feel that everything that is said to us is right, and even sometimes something may be scientifically proven, we still reject
Yeah.
it because of past experiences.
Yeah.
And again, when it comes to journalism, they have tried to levy the blame of this new variant on South Africa, when the reality is that South Africa just discovered the existence of the new variant. And
Exactly.
you'd be surprised that there are channels that say that this is really surprising because they are honest news media outlets, and then there are those that are dishonest. So it's very important that we verify the information that we get from multiple news sources, because a lot of us, what we do is we focus on one. We're like, okay, CNN is reliable, so Fox News is false. But there are times where
Yeah.
Fox News may be right and CNN may be false.
Yeah.
So it's good to get information from a plethora of sources. So perhaps you could investigate based on sources like Al Jazeera, CNN, BBC. Check out the website of WHO, the World Health Organization. Consult
Yeah.
medical doctors within your own hemisphere and ask them as to what is going on. But I just feel that this is sort of like the media taking advantage of people's fears. We call it mass
Yeah.
hysteria, where they're saying that, oh, it's South Africa that has this new variant, and providing false information, and people
Yeah.
believing in it because people just consume. We just consume information. But I think it would be important to verify and try using multiple sources to come to a more adequate conclusion.
Okay, Muhaimina, I think brother Ijaz really put out some amazing points. Like they really make a lot of sense. What is your view on this?
So I think it was this week when I saw, in fact, on Sunday, when I saw an Instagram story where someone had posted a newspaper where Germany had written, the variant of Africa is now here.
Yeah.
And on that newspaper, I saw there was a picture on the side that showed a black child with a mother trying to feed the child, or there was something going on over there, but they made sure that there's a picture of a black child and saying that the variant of Africa is now here in Germany. So I find that
Yeah.
very disturbing because you see, even when we compare it to the beginning, we were really accusing China of the beginning of the COVID
Yes.
19 pandemic. So whatever's happening to
Yes.
South Africa right now happened to
Yeah.
China. So
China.
all in
Yes.
all, I think we're trying to make it look like it's a country versus a country during COVID, but it's actually the world versus COVID. We are fighting this variant, these whatever this is. It's us versus them. It's not South Africa versus the U.S. or China versus Kenya or whatever. It's not that at all. It's us as a human race versus this. So I think that's one thing that media and individuals forget to recognize, that these are people who are dying that we're talking about. We can't pinpoint anybody. Whatever it was alerted. Today, if we see, I think it's been about 2 weeks or 10 days since the new variant, and
Yes.
it's everywhere around the world. So if it was only South Africa, then it would have been contained there. But this is now a world thing. That's why it's called a pandemic. It's affecting everybody. So I think it's more of media should understand that it's more of us versus the variant than South Africa versus any other country. So that's what I personally believe. And there's so many people who believe differently. And I even understand what Brother Ijaz said, that different
Yeah.
news channels have different things. We heard, like when this thing started, there were many things in media, do this and do that, and this and that. And we learned gradually what actually suits us, right? So I feel
Yes.
media should calm down. We're fighting. We're all fighting this. We all have uncertainty. We all don't know what's going to happen. So I don't really I'm not really up for this bad shaming any country, or this kind of thing. I That's
I
what I
get
feel.
you. Yeah. I totally get you on this, and I feel like you've really like expressed it very confidently and very boldly, because such matters are not really voiced or opinion or yeah, like spoken about much. People always have that biased nature or biased opinions. So I think we really need to consider these topics and bring them forth. It really makes sense. Thank you so much. I really loved discussing on this. I think we really like got some really nice, educative, like informative things that people can actually take lessons from, and people would know what's really going on. Now let's lighten up the mood a little, since we are celebrating the wiladat of Lady Zainab this week. Let's talk and understand a little about her life and some of that we can take. So we all know that Lady Zainab Salamullahi alaiha was known as, al Masaib. There are so many other titles that we'll be discussing about. What I really want to share is about her name, Zainab, which is the combination of two words, and that is Zain, which means adornment, and Ab, which means father, and which means she was her father's adornment, and everything is adorned in accordance with its position and prestige. Now, as we'll be talking about the upbringing of Lady Zainab, my question to you, Brother Ijaz, would be that what kind of an environment and family was she raised into, and how did that build her in shape shifting the mindset of the society at that time?
Okay. Firstly, I just wanted to know if I got the question clear because my audio has been giving me a bit of a problem. So you're saying how does family play a role in shaping a child in terms of the environment?
Yes. So, for example, what kind of environment was she raised into, and how did that help her into, shape shifting the mindset of the people of at that time? And then, what sort of a woman did she become, and what changes did she bring during that period?
Okay. Firstly, it's very interesting that Bibi Zainab was surrounded by some of the best people ever to have existed on the face of this earth. She is the daughter of Imam Ali and Bibi Fatima. She had the best siblings, a great and an amazing grandfather, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when you're born in that type of environment, you naturally learn a lot from those around you. You know, they always say that if you're a businessman, it's because your father was a businessman.
Yeah.
Because you learn those skills, you professionally develop owing to your family. So it's very important for a child to have a good upbringing, for skill sharing. As you know that Bibi Zainab, whenever she had any question, she'd come to Imam Ali and ask. She'd ask
Yes.
Imam Hussein. And they would consult her as well. There are narrations that show that Bibi Zainab would comfort her brother in Karbala. So when Imam Hussein would cry, whenever Bibi Zainab would come and comfort her brother and say that do not worry, that we will triumph,
Yes.
we will thrive, and we will succeed in our mission. And Imam Ali, during Bibi Zainab's childhood, kept on telling Bibi Zainab that you will face many hardships, you will face many calamities, but be brave, be strong. And this is what our families do to us as well. They tell us, do not
Yes.
worry, be strong, be resilient, persevere during trials and tribulation. So, for example, Muhaimina has written a book about cancer and how her mother fought through cancer and how she assisted her mother fighting this battle. So, similarly,
Yes.
this is why family is so important because you help one another during times of crisis, during trials and tribulation. They say that the only loyal companions in your life aren't your friends. Yes, it's important to have good friends, but the most paramount or the most imperative people in your life should be your parents and your family members.
Thank you, Brother Ijaz, for elaborating that very nicely. The message is very nicely conveyed. Muhaimina, if you could pick certain qualities that identify Lady Zainab as a role model for us women, what would they be?
So there are two qualities that I would pick, and one is patience, and the other one is confidence. So I'll start with patience, and in fact, both of them reach the same events. Patience, as we know in the Battle of Karbala, how she held the ladies together, how she comforted the ladies, how she was grieving, how she was feeling all the pain, but she decided to remain patient and keep her trust and faith in Allah and know that everything is happening because Allah has planned for it to happen. I think that is one quality that has really been ingrained in me because when my mom was ill, it was one thing that she held on to, that the patience of Bibi Zainab, and that's one thing that has really gotten me through my life. So that's one quality that I will always admire. And the second thing is confidence. And a lot of people ask me that how I can be a confident public speaker, and this is where I get my confidence from. When Bibi Zainab went into the Darbar of Yazid and stood up confidently and she talked against oppression. She was the kind of woman who would not accept oppression. She stood up and spoke, and the way she spoke like moved everybody there. So this is the confidence that I would want in my life, a confidence to speak against oppression, to talk against something that's wrong, to stand up for what is right. So these are two very important qualities that I have personally learned from the life of Bibi Zainab. And there are many more. Of course, I cannot even begin to say all of them because it would take so long. But these two qualities are something that I appreciate, and I know I'm going to use these two qualities for the rest of my life because patience and confidence are two things that have gotten me so far, and definitely something that I have learned from the life of Bibi Zainab. alayhi salam.
Thank you, Muhaimina. That was amazing. You really, chose very nice qualities, I feel. And, the way you've connected them with your experience personally, I really like how you did that. Now, let's talk about some of her titles. Lady Zainab has several titles attributed to her, just like her mother, Lady Zahra, Salamullahi alayha. So can we try to, list out those along with their meanings? So let's start with Brother Ijaz.
Okay. One of her titles is Alima Ghair Muallama. She was an alima without a teacher, which implies that she did not require any sort of external source, but she had all the information required within her. So it almost felt like it was some sort of divine source that allowed her to succeed in her endeavors. That is why she's known as Alima Ghair Muallam. Because her primary teacher was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because she always followed the path of God. As Muhaimina highlighted, she spoke up against oppression. Because Allah in the Quran says, speak up against oppression. In Surah 4 verse 135, Allah says, speak up against oppression even if it be against yourself. Even if it be against your society, even if it be against the most powerful people on this earth. In addition, another famous title of Lady Zainab is Sabira, which means the patient one, or a preferable synonym of patient would be one who perseveres, or the resilient one. And the Quran also highlights this in Surah Al Imran, chapter 3, verse 200, where Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu isbiru was-sabiru warabitu fattaqullaha la'allakum tattaqun. That be patient, no, persevere in patience. Persevere in patience. Be extremely resilient. Be exceedingly patient. And that is why Bibi Zainab is not known as someone who was patient, but she's known as Sabira, the one who has persevered in patience, the most resilient person. And she was patient. At the same time, she also spoke up against all the injustices that she saw.
Jazz,
Thank you, Brother.
You took all the ones I was going to say.
Exactly. I was just going to say that he's actually listed all of them out. So what's remaining? No, but mashallah, thank you so much. It was superb how you explained the meanings as well, like with so much, mashallah, the hadiths and like a lot of good knowledge and explanation. So thank you. Now, Muhaimina, so what are the other ones?
So there are many, mashallah, there are many titles. Just told the ones I wanted to say, but here are others. There's Al Akila as the noble woman. And of course, that goes without explanation. We don't need to even explain that because Bibi Zainab we're talking about. There was another one called Zahida, the devout. There is Masuma, the infallible. There is, I know two others. Wait, there's Aminatullah, the faithful of.
There's also Kamila. Yes, Kamila, the complete Masuma. One. She represents the human perfection, and also Fadila because of her great jihad and her service to Islam. And you said, did you mention Masuma? There's also Al-Siddiqat Suqra, meaning she was the junior veracious lady. Like she was very honest, truthful. Yeah. Okay, so I think we have spoken about most of them. Sharikatul Hussein also. Um, yeah, we've spoken about that as well. Okay, now let's move on to our next question, and that is that without a shadow of doubt, there are many incidents and scenarios where Lady Zainab Salamullahi alaiha has been praised and admired in history. She stood like a valiant warrior. So according to you, Brother Ijaz, which incident, touches your heart the most, and what practical lesson can we learn from it?
Okay. I would say the incident that has touched me the most is when she wouldn't cry for her own children simply because she had to cry for her brother, because her brother had no
Yeah.
one who cried over him. So she cried over her brother. And the narrations tell us that even after the her children in the dungeons of Sham, she never cried for her children. But the
Yeah.
only moment that she actually cried and felt emotional over the martyrdom of her children was when she saw the two beds in Medina, when she returned back to Medina and saw her children's small beds, and she
Yeah.
started crying then. So that really touches me whenever I hear it recited by the shuyukh, by the dhakirin. So it is important that we ought to be altruistic. It's an English term that refers to caring about your others before yourself. And this is one quality that Bibi Zainab had, where she was altruistically giving. She would sacrifice, give, not based on her preference, but based on the preferences of others. And as humans who claim to follow the path of Bibi Zainab, we should be the same. We should be kind to others, we should be compassionate to others, and we should be altruistic, where we give not based on our preferences, but we give based on what is required, and when we care about others more than what we care about ourselves. Now, I'm not saying this concept of loving ourselves is not important. It is important, but equally we must care about others as well, and we must be good to humanity and sacrifice our own selves and our own souls sometimes just to liberate humanity.
Thank you, Brother Ijaz. Thank you. That was amazing. Now, Muhaimina,
Thank you.
would you like to share with us an incident that has touched your heart? Very briefly.
I think I've already mentioned when Bibi Zainab went into Darbar and she spoke confidently. I feel like that's one incident that has really motivated me in life, and it's one thing that I always look up to as whenever I'm confidence. It's always the incident that I look up to. So I've already mentioned this before, so I wouldn't want to repeat the whole thing over again. But this is one thing that has really touched me, and it has made me become the person I am today. Because we learn that in today's world, for us to get up and talk against what's wrong, those days are over when we would just keep quiet when something wrong was happening. In fact, I believe there were no days when people would keep quiet, because since the time of Bibi Zainab, she stood up against what's wrong. And this incident is ingrained in my life. And from who I am, of course, you, my friend, you would know that I'm the kind of person who would stand up and say when something
Yeah.
is wrong or when something is right. I would just say it. It's who I am. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that I've learned from Bibi Zainab, that confidence. I always have that. So that's one thing I've learned.
Yes, and I like encourage people to do that. Like always, speak up for the truth. Don't uh just suppress it, because when you're suppressing it, there's so many other people out there who suffer because of it, which is not fair. So you need to make that change in order to bring that change around the world for others to get a better life. Yeah. I think we go through this a lot in our communities and societies. Like, there are things you shouldn't talk about, you shouldn't voice your opinion out, especially being a woman sometimes. I don't know, people see it as like taboo and stuff. Even I'm against it sometimes. It really doesn't help that way. Like if something is wrong, then you have to speak up. Thank you, Mohaimina. I really liked your answer. Thank you so much. So we're done with our discussion on Lady Zainab Salamullahi alaiha, and I think we've learned so much. Thank you to the both of you. Now we're coming to our third segment, and are you guys excited or nervous?
I know I'm losing, so
No,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
terrible at
So
general
it's all
knowledge.
about it's all about having fun and just learning, okay? So these are now general knowledge questions, okay? It's just like about normal things that are happening around the world and like very basic things, okay? So I'll start with Brother Ijaz, okay? So question one is um, what element is, if you know the periodic table, that is, okay? What
tell me.
element is denoted by the chemical symbol Sn in the periodic table?
Pass. I have no idea. I never. My last
Come on,
science
this is
class
so
was in
easy.
grade 9. I took arts from there, so no idea.
It's so basic. It's
I'm.
just basic chemistry. Okay, Muhaimina, what about you?
Did, what did you say?
S,
SN.
yeah, Sn.
I actually dropped chemistry. I'm a more biology person, but I don't know if this is right. Is it tin?
Yes, it's tin. It's correct. Okay.
She's using
You know,
Google, I
this
think.
this
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter really. Okay. The next question is, what is the smallest planet in our solar system?
Oh no.
Mohamina, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Is it for
Just
Jupiter?
me?
say it. It doesn't.
Is
Yeah.
it
Did you say
Jupiter?
Mercury? No, it's Mercury.
No. Oh
Oh,
no.
It's Mercury. Okay. Come on, man. You guys should be knowing this. Okay. Next question. What company is also the name of one of the longest rivers in the world?
Oh no.
River Nile.
Company, okay,
Yeah,
which has a
Nile?
similar name.
the night?
There's a company named as Nile. A company.
Yeah. There might
Okay,
be. There
the
might
CEO
be.
of that company, the CEO of that company's name is Jeff Bezos.
Amazon.
Yes, Amazon. Okay. Okay. Next
Yeah,
one.
ask me these
This
types
is
of
very
questions.
easy. Okay. Like seriously, what is the tallest mountain in the world?
Everest.
Everest.
Yes, correct.
We
Both
said
of
it
you. Yes,
together.
Everest. Yes.
I said it first.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
said it
Okay.
together,
Fine. Yes.
Ijaz.
So the next question is, when did COVID-19 begin, and in which country?
December 2019.
November.
Correct. Yes.
Wuhan.
The
China.
when did it global pandemic?
Global pandemic, March 2020.
Correct.
Yeah.
March 2020, and in China, right? That's where it started from.
So we get
Okay,
half. I
excellent. You
said
guys are
China. She
doing
said
great.
March 22.
It's fine. You
There's
guys,
no half mark. The mark is
okay, guys
marked.
are doing. You guys are doing great. Okay. Now the next one is, what is taller, an elephant or a giraffe?
What? What?
What is taller, an elephant or a giraffe?
Giraffe.
Giraffe.
Correct. You know, it's like your
Good question.
expressions that are really. Okay. The next one is, how many players are there in a football team?
11.
11.
Yep. Yep. Correct. Okay. The next one is, uh, Elon Musk is the CEO of which global brand?
Tesla.
Oh, Tesla,
Yes.
of course. Oh my god, what am I thinking?
Okay.
This is
The
food.
next one is, yeah. Which social media app only lets you view pictures and messages for a limited time?
Snapchat.
Snapchat.
Correct, both of you.
I was
Yeah.
first. I was first.
Okay, maybe it's the internet connection, and also I can't be like, okay, you answered
No.
first. Maybe I'm getting, but okay. The next question is, Beirut is the capital of which country?
Lebanon.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I didn't hear your question.
Beirut is
Oh,
the
she's gone.
capital of which country?
Lebanon, yes.
Lebanon. Yes, that's correct. Okay, the next question is, what is the largest animal on the planet?
Whale?
Yes,
Yeah.
the blue whale. Okay,
No, good guess.
sorry. Mohamina, are you like hating me right now? I'm really
Bit.
sorry, okay? No, no. I think it's really like nice, like, come on, like it's just like a revision.
It's a good
Okay,
job.
next
It's a good
question.
job.
Yeah, yeah. What sport does Roger Federer play?
Tennis.
I can't hear you very well.
What sport
You're
does
cutting a little.
Roger Federer play?
Oh, tennis.
Yeah,
Tennis.
tennis. Okay. Yep, that one was easy. Okay, last question. How many sides does an octagon have?
8.
8.
Yes, correct. 8 sides. Okay, so
Sakina,
I
you should
think
have
you
asked
guys.
more of these questions. I'm a math major. Ask me these questions.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Another math question. Okay. Um.
No, no,
Okay, this is not a
no.
question, but I'll just ask you, what is one of your favorite formulas when it comes to algebra?
Wow, I haven't in algebra in so long. I think the quadratic formula.
Really, you like that one? Oh my god. Okay, brother Ijaz, what about you? Or you're into
I hate
arts,
math.
right, brother Ijaz? Okay, yeah, okay. I actually hate math as well. I'm really bad at it, so
Exactly.
I love math.
I just don't get math. I don't know why. Okay, fine. Let's see. There's another question. Yeah. How many planets in our solar system?
9.
8.
No.
Someone said it right. It's
So
Is
what's
it
the
9 or
eight.
answer?
8?
I said 8.
Oh, okay, I said 9.
Yes, it's 8. So yeah, you guys were close enough. Okay. What is the capital of Iceland?
Capital of
No.
Iceland.
Yeah.
No
Mombasa.
idea.
It's a bit difficult to pronounce as well and to spell it, so I will help you out. It's called Reykjavik, and the spelling is Reykjavik, but you pronounce it as Reykjavik. So that, and okay, how many centimeters are there in a meter, Muhaimina?
100.
Of course, 100.
Ask her.
I
Why
Yes,
I
like
can't
okay,
math,
answer
bro.
questions?
okay. Did I ask you this one? What is the capital of Finland?
Yeah.
No.
Finland, no. And I don't know.
Okay, my
Damn
guess is Helsinki.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay,
Helsinki, of
Helsinki.
course. I should have known.
Should have known this.
it's like
Yeah,
it's there, but then it's not like it doesn't come to your mind.
it
It's
takes
like you know
time.
it, but yeah, it happens. Okay.
I think we know Helsinki more than
What?
Finland. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What language is spoken in Norway?
Norwegian? I don't know.
Norway.
Yes, Norwegian. That's correct. Okay.
Ijaz, was it a guess?
Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. Did you guys enjoy today's program?
We did. I
Yes.
loved it. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so much.
Sakina.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. It
It's
was an
always a
honor.
pleasure
I
to be in
really enjoyed.
conversation with you.
Yes, I'm so glad that I have the both of you together, like, two geniuses on my programs. Yeah, like amazing, really. I really love, the discussion that we had, and you guys really gave amazing answers. Brother Ijaz, thank you. The way you
Thank you.
researched the hadiths, the way you connected everything. I appreciate you, Mohaimina. Want to say thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure having the both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to you too, Muhammad.
Okay, thank you so much, viewers, for watching our today's program, and I hope that all of you really enjoyed today's session. It was something new out of the box, but I think like we really learned a lot. So it's always good to go back and sort of revise a little on our knowledge, so we know that we're on the right track. Thank you, and inshallah, we'll be catching you in another interesting episode next week, same time. So please do catch me on Youth Matters with me, your host, Sakina Habib. Thank you so much. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.